Yeah, my wonderful people, viewers and subscribers all over the world. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Happy New Day, happy Wednesday, and happy the 4th day of in the month of September in the year of 2024. Hey, this is new month. My greatest happiness this morning is that somebody have told the line of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, preaching the message of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, telling the people the reason why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu should be released. Because what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu did is even a 1/4 of what others have did. And you free them and charge Mazi Nnamdi Kanu with treasonable felony. Amended charges, added charges, subtracting charges on the head of one person because he came from one tribe, which is the Igbos, the Biafrans. This man is by no other name. You know him too well. He is not he is a no-nonsense man by name, Rufai Oseni of AriseTv. Backing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, Rufai is praising Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's message for the second time, so that the world will know that Nnamdi Kanu is truly a genius, a hero, and a God sent to liberate his people. Through Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's messages, both online and offline, many nations have been liberated through it. I can tell you that it is through Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's message that the jail arise and took over their nation. It was through Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's message that Gabon is being liberated from a dynasty called a ruling of, family business of Ali Bongo from great-grandparents. Now that country is working well. It was through Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's message that Burkina Faso took the bull by the horn. Go and see Burkina Faso today. My dear, they are doing well. What about Zimbabwe? They are also doing well through Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's message. Well, I'm happy to announce to you that Rufai Oseni finally have backed Mazi Nnamdi Kanu for freedom and also for referendum to the Biafrans. I want you to listen to him. This is a very great message. And as I listen, please do me a favor. Make sure you share this message as many times as possible. Do it, and you will get your reward. Because the reward you are getting is that Biafrans will be free, and other nations who depends on the freedom of Biafra will also be free. You get the point now, eh? That is a Nka pieces. For the first time, he is an investigative journalist. He practices journalism of no nonsense. He said things the way they are. Whenever you see him shouting, look very well. You gotta see say one there is something there. So please, I want you to listen to Rufai Oseni as he preached Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's message, as he backed Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's message, as he was saying, and they changed him of treason. Rufai Oseni, kudos to Rufai Oseni. This is what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has said, and they said, "Okuwa no weteyake ebuo." Anyway, make gonna follow me to listen to this message. We'll be right back to read the comments and also to to tell my people what really happened in these present day times. So please do it. I'll be right back.
Sharibu is a symptom of a deeper problem. We talk about Nigeria not work. It was not structured in a way that it was going to work because people wanted to take it for their own benefits. And that's why they don't like the truth. That's why they want to dominate every sphere. They want to shut people down in the media when you try to rat them out. That's what they call the genesis of distortion. I titled it, I said the genesis of distortion. The reason why Nigeria it is today is because there's a genesis to the distortion. It didn't start today. And I'll take you back to some key dates. I'll take you back to the year 1914. The year 1914 was the year they amalgamated the Northern and the Southern Protectorate. But before then, the British had first amalgamated the Southern Protectorate. Because you see, when they came, they met us fighting ourselves. Prior to that time, we had fought the Kiridi and the Jalobi wars. So in the South, for instance, when the British came, the only thing they had to do was just to unite the warring factions. Because the Jeshakiti Parako were fighting deep, the Oyo people and all of that, So we're fighting and we have made a lot of slaves. Most of the people that went from the Kennedy and Jaloni wars were those that went as slaves to Latin America. Those are the people that came back as what we call the Agudaos. These are the likes of the Darochas. So that's why you see that Lagos Island is filled with a lot of Brazilian architecture. They even celebrate Fanti Festival. In fact, we eat frijon in Christmas. Frijon is not native to us. It's Portuguese food. So those were the cultures they brought back. But how did we get those cultures? Because we were fighting. So they said the people of God suffered violence. And all this violence can take us by force. We were already fighting from hitherto. Then the British came, settled the fight, then they colonized. The first inroad of the British in what is called Lagos colony today came in the middle 1800s when two people too were fighting over the throne of Lagos, Kosoko and Akitoye. So they called in the British to come and settle fights. But you see, when you call a bigger man to come and settle fights of something that is very juicy, what do? They take it from you. So when Akitoye went aboard a ship called the HMS Prometheus on the Lagos Marina here, and he said, the British said, we don't know what you're talking about. Sign this edict that you will cede Lagos to us. So Lagos became a crown colony, and that's why in 1906 the first thing we did was the Southern Protectorate, the other fighting parts of the Yoruba parts, and Lagos colony. And that's why you see up till 1960, in fact, when we gained independence in 1960, residents full-born in Lagos had the chance to either choose a British passport or a Nigerian passport. But a lot of them opted for Nigerian passports. So after that amalgamation, they started to rule over us. So guess the things they started to do to us. The first thing they did was they distorted our mindset. That's the genesis of the distortion. So they told you that your black color was never good enough. How did they do it? Indoctrinations. At first, they told you have to go through an education system. And after the education system, they said your language was not good enough, so they taught you in English. Have you ever wondered that if we are taught mathematics in Igbo, there will have been more people with a sound understanding of mathematics than in English? So the first thing you have to do, you have to learn your colonizer's language. And when you learn your colonizer's language, they took away your identity on how to think. So they call your customs and traditions idolatry. And the last thing they did was that they set up a fight between you, because they know if you are united, then there's going to be a problem. You remember the Tower of Babel? Even our God knew the importance of unity. So what did he do? He changed the language. So they set up a fight. And it's so easy. How would they do it? They have agents. Stir up ethnic strife. Yorubas will fight Hausa, Hausas will fight Igbos and all of that. And they fan the embers. And they constantly do it. So the first genesis of distortion was initial colonialism, and they continued. In fact, they did it up till 1959, when we had the first elections, the 12th of December. You know what they deliberately did? That election, we know who won that election. Who had more votes? The NCNC had more votes. But originally, the British had planned that it was going to be a hung parliament. You know what they call a hung parliament? A hung parliament is when there's no clear winner in a parliamentary system. So you have to form a government of national unity. The British have known that it will be either the Yorubas and the Igbos, the Achom group, or the NCSC, and the MPC. The MPC was standard. So that was how they did it, and that was what happened. But they knew that was going to bring a very big problem. You had a boisterous action group in opposition. There was going to be problems. And they knew it was not going to last. And they knew that it was going to open more fault lines that led to the war in 1966. So have you ever wondered that it was just after 6 years, after the first elections, no, Then we had another elections in 64-65 that spanned into 64-65. So pretty much 6 years after the first election and 2-3 years after the second election, then we had a civil war that further deepened the fault line. So the first agent of distortion, and I'm sure we all know that, it will take years for you to recover from such a strife like that. So they have set the tone for what become the war, and they are giving it to us at a beat, and we are taking it. So once we are taking it, once we have fought the first civil war and all of that, and when the civil war started, they were the ones who started selling their weapons. So afterwards, they have started the first genesis of distortion. They had caused hatred amongst us. The hatred means that we'll never be able to come together. And please, that's why I say every wall of hatred you have for your brother, break it. Because if they can take our unity, they can take our strength. So once they cause that hatred, we couldn't come together again. And that's what we'll be circling with. In the last election, our problem was not about tribe or religion, but they made it about tribe or religion in the end. Because they know the genesis of distortion. So that's the first genesis of distortion. And that's why you see that life in Nigeria has now become something like an Obasian state. It is British. We talk about Leah Sharibu. Leah Sharibu is a symptom of a deeper problem. We talk about Nigeria not work. It was not structured in a way that it was going to work because people wanted to take it for their own benefits. And that's why they don't like the truth. That's why they want to dominate every sphere. They want to shut people down in the media when you try to rat them out. So they deliberately put all of these things in place so that these systems and these hegemonies will not make you come together or work. You think all of a sudden Boko Haram just started. It's also part of a grand system. Now that we've properly destroyed parts of this country with kidnapping, insecurity and all of that, it's easy for non-state actors to roam wild. So there's a genesis to the national distortion. And they knew what they were doing. Pre-independence, post-independence. This game is so big that our politicians are just being played as a pawn in the game. But you know why it's easy to play our politicians? Because they see their greed. A nation can never grow if the leaders are greedy. A nation can never grow if the leaders are greedy. Once they see greed, they exploit the greed of the leaders. Have you ever noticed why is it that most African countries are poor? Because their leaders are greedy. And they are taking advantage of the mindset of their leaders to destroy the nations. For what reason? For natural resource. Because they know we are blessed. You know Nigeria has the capacity to be a $10-15 trillion economy. Even more than that. America is going to about 20 trillion now. We have the capacity to be a superpower. But you know we have so much resource. So the next thing they do is they target the greed of our leaders and the selfish interest of our leaders. And they pull the buckle. So our leaders are so content with them having 5-10 billion in their bank accounts, rather than the collective development of the people. I mean, look at how bad the roads are in Lagos. For a Lagos that collects a lot of taxes. So it's not even about the politicians. It's about the systems that break all of us down, that create this national distortion. Even with our security system. That's why you see, it will not have different layers. They will put ethnicity in it. They will put religion in it. But these things are deeper than ethnicity and religion. Because they need you to be confused about the dimensioning of these systems. They don't want you to think and know where it's coming from. So the truth is, you can't grow beyond the system that is fraudulent. That's why you see the way we are today with the Naira. All of a sudden, the Naira that used to be 1-to-1 with the dollar, look at where it is today, it's 1,004 something. When they were defending the Naira and we kept on telling them there are no fundamentals, they thought I was joking. They said, oh, that boy is a stupid boy. Has the Naira not started rising again? For a country that is so much blessed with milk and honey and its currency cannot be stable, you will know to a large extent that it's because the leaders are not thinking right and they've been sucked in. So maybe sometime soon we'll defend the Naira even more and it will go back to square one again. But please do not think the Naira will go back to where it used to be before. I'm sorry. I'm in the church. I believe in hope and faith. But I'm a realist to the core. I don't sabi deceive people. No. If you think it will be 1-to-1, be careful with what you think. Except we change the systems and the mindset that makes it difficult for us not to be able to produce as a country. Except to become a productive nation. Except we now start to tackle the genesis of this national distortion, we're not going to go anywhere. So insecurity you are seeing is a symptom. Have you ever wondered why growing up the same army that used to be so powerful cannot get rid of bandits? So you think all of a sudden it just happened? It didn't just happen. You think the system just got destroyed like that? It didn't just start. It was systematically, and they kept on seeping into our consciousness and our mindset. And that's why you see it's getting more difficult by the day. But you see, in all of this, for those that have facts and know the Lord, their feet shall be firm on the ground. But the thing is, it's not about just having facts and knowing the Lord. So what are you doing about it in your space? Are you part of the national greed? Because the world has enough to meet human need, not human greed. So we have a leadership that wants to meet their greed and meet our need. It can never be possible. That's why you see how much trillion, 26.7 trillion budgets. It's not going to go far. You know why? There's so much greed. A lot of people want to eat. Eguje. So those are the real agents of distortion. Except you understand that these systems are systems that were built inherently not to make Nigeria work, we will be fooling ourselves. And people like Leah Sharibu and other people that have been caught in the crossfire of Nigeria are just victims in all of this. They're just symptoms. The issues are deeper. In the last 10 years, have you seen real progress? It keeps decelerating. Have you ever wondered why? Because there are no fundamentals. All we have is little successes that people amplify, but it doesn't make it true. What 50 naira could buy 10 years ago, can it buy today again? We say we have gas, we are flaring gas, but we can't buy gas in our own country without having an exorbitant fee. We produce electricity, but it's not enough. Despite the fact that they don't give you power, they now come and say band A. And you're not even getting the band The electricity agency is like bandits. Today, this morning, I had lots of power in the house. I recharged, how much? Was it 40,000 naira? And I got, I think, how many units did I get? Maybe a little over 100 units. But have you ever wondered, why is it that at some point power was a lot better then than it is today? Some people say, oh, it's because the Nigerian population grew. No. It's because the system kept on getting corrupt, and more greedy, and more greedy, and more greedy, and more greedy, to the point of distortion. And if care is not taken, it's going to be worse. I don't like to deceive people. Yes. If the church does not rise up and speak truth to power, if the actors do not rise up and speak truth to power, it's going to be worse. If they ever told you that we can have a country where they can kidnap somebody for close to 10 years, would you ever have believed it in Nigeria before? No. If they ever told you that you have a country where food can be this expensive, would you ever believe it? If they ever told you that Nigeria now will be so at a point that Benin Republic, their currency is bigger than ours. If you saw the front page of the Telegraph newspaper yesterday, they said Nigerian neighboring countries now reject Naira up for CFA and dollar. Because CFA is 650 to the dollar. Naira is 1,004 something to the dollar. And if care is not taken, it's going to be worse, because at some point we are getting to 1,900. This was the same CFA that as at the early 90s, 16,000 naira was 1 million CFA. So the ingredients of national distortion, and in all of this, the political class still wants to grab power. So the ingredients of national distortion is greed. But the funny thing is, what I'm most scared about is the greed of the people. Because you see, all of these unscrupulous politicians, they have agents. Some of them will have agents in this place, isn't it? But because, and I'm going to talk to you today, because of what you want to benefit, you see the truth and you look away. You don't know you're doing yourself. Because if this country is good, it's going to be good for all of us. If this country is not good, it's not going to be good for all of us. Are you happy the way it is that as a city as big as Lagos, we don't have pipe bomb running water? When last can you open your tap and say this is government running water? And for you to still do borehole, they are going to charge you for doing borehole. But guess what? I had a friend that was telling me, I said, 1992, when he moved into his house on Wole Estate, there was pipe bomb running water that came into his house, and they said, connect to government water. So how did the situation become deplorable over the years? So these are the agents of national distortion, and that's why I say insecurity is just part of them. The same north that people used to love to drive to in the past, very lovely roads that your car will even break down, you will sleep on the road, are places that you can't go again because of greed and national strife. But let me tell you, they will look for all sorts of things to cloud it. They will call it, oh, it's because of tribalism and everything. That's why you, the people, need to be united. Yoruba, for an Igbo man, the Yoruba brother is not your problem. For a Yoruba man, an Igbo man is not your problem. For an Hausa man, and a Igbo man is not your problem. The thieving political class are your problems. Because of their own greed, and they don't want you to thrive and move further. And because it's always been a fight between the masses and the bourgeoisies. That was what the British too did during the colonial days. They will always build systems of exploitation from you. They will levy you, they will tax you. Number one system of it is taxes. Now they want to collect what tax from you? Cyber security taxes. Has your earning increased? So, and that's the mindset of a few continue to get richer, while a lot of people continue to get poorer. Real quickly, how do we break these agents of national distortion? Number one, unity. We must unite across every cultural bound. Because our real problems are the perpetrators of evil, not your brother from another tribe. And that's why today I come here on behalf of Nigeria. Anybody that's been caught in any tribal debacle or war, please, I apologize, let's forgive. For this last election, please, let's forgive. We can't continue to hold the hurt so much. It will stop us from progress. These are bad people who want the division to continue so that we will not be able to reason properly for ourselves. So it's a gimmick to set us against each other. You are not my brother. You are not my problem, my brother. You are not my problem, my sister. It is those who are manipulating us that are trying to cause chaos amongst us. So please, whoever is hot, I beg, on behalf of the integrity and the hope we expect in this country, let's forgive. Another thing, we need to hold our politicians accountable. That's why I say kudos to you, sir. Please, a big round of applause for Reverend. A big round of applause for Reverend. As a church is set up an advocacy group, most churches will not try it. Because they'll be waiting for the day one politician will come and donate drum. Or they'll be waiting for the day politician will come and they will endorse them on stage.
So my people, when I don't hear them, Rufai Oseni of AriseTv don't break the jar. The enemy now is on the run. The enemy now is looking for his head because he speak the message of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. He preached the message of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. He let the world to know that this guy called Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the Hamadike one of Igbo land, is really a genius and also a true legend and a prophet both sent from above. So we'll take just few comments because I don't want this video to be so long. But if you know the content of this video, you need to watch it till the end. Wisdom said, since Rufai believe in Nigeria and begs everyone to unite, please go and tell this story to the bandits and Boko Haram who are killing peoples. At Dominica said Rufai is the type of leader that any country needs. Sonny Ekome said, yes, Rufai, you are making a point and we have already known the logic of British and Fulani. That is why we are supported with Biafra and the leadership of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and with the new dimension of Prime Minister Simon Ekpa Njoku. At Chukwumoba, DBS said this is exactly what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said that made them hate him. Now a Yoruba man is saying the same thing. They will not do him anything. They will not get him arrested. And they will not persecute him because he belongs to the power that be, or he belongs to the section who believe that the country belongs to them. At Honanya Chigoze said, when Yorubas talks, everyone will hear them and praise them. But if the Igbos talks, the same thing, they ask for the prosecution. May thunder never mercy for all of them in the mighty name of Jesus. I fear you. This guy will not keep you, I beg you. At the Florence said, fearless Rufai, you are making sense. We love you, son. You are doing well. Chukwuemeka Alfred said, this is what the Biafrans are fighting for. Those who doesn't understand call it hate or act of terror. No, they don't hate it, but you are trying to remove food from their mouth. The conglomerate which the British are building in Nigeria is what they don't want to scatter. And that is why they turn their back on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and every other person fighting for the independence of Biafra. Anyway, my people, now here we go take back break. Please like, share, comment, and make sure you subscribe to this channel for more interesting videos coming your way. I'll be right back.